Health and Human Services staffers want him to resign. Prince George's County, Maryland police say black 19-year-old Dakara Thompson, missing since August 23rd, was found dead near Route 50. Surveillance showing Thompson getting into a car led to a Bowie home, and 35-year-old Hugo Hernandez Mendez is now charged with her murder. And Tupac murder suspect Keefe D has been sentenced to up to 40 months for a jailhouse fight. He claims he was attacked and didn't fight back. He'll stay locked up until his murder trial begins in February. Get BIN News now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Still got those annoying mosquitoes, ants, crickets, and creepy spiders? Get them out for good. Call legendary Dewey Pest and Termite Control. Family run since 1929. Get a free inspection and evaluation at DeweyPest.com. That's DeweyPest.com.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
It was a good first week of the regular season for both of LA's NFL teams. The Chargers beat Kansas City Friday night in Brazil. The Rams beat Houston 14-9 in their season opener at SoFi Stadium. The Rams defense kept Houston out of the end zone. All of Houston's points came on field goals. Rams quarterback Matthew Stafford was 21 of 29 for 245 yards and a touchdown. Stafford became the 10th quarterback in NFL history to reach 60,000 passing yards. The LA Sparks kept their WNBA playoff hopes alive with a 91-77 win over the Dallas Wings. The Sparks have 2 games remaining to pass the Seattle Storm for the 8th and final playoff spot. Seattle was a game and a half ahead of the Sparks. The Dodgers snapped a 5-game losing streak with a 5-2 win at Baltimore. The Dodgers are back home tonight against Colorado. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
Are you ready to be a part of the conversation that will help shape our nation's future? Get ready to join us for the Left Coast Forum, Saturday, October 25th at LA Trade Tech, where progressive voices will come together to tackle the issues that matter most to working families across Los Angeles and beyond. From economic justice to climate action, from healthcare to housing, we're bringing together the brightest minds and most passionate advocates for real solutions and real change. With workshops, 2 major keynote addresses, and a closing reception with great music and good food. It's the Left Coast Forum, where your voice matters and your ideas take action. Saturday, October 25th at LA Trade Tech. Brought to you by KBLA Talk 1580 and the LA Progressive. The future won't wait, and neither should you. Mark your calendar now to be there and be heard. Stay tuned to KBLA Talk 1580 for more details.
Live from historic Leimert Park in Los Angeles, California, I'm Tavis Smiley, and I'm so glad to see you and me back in stride again. Before we get started with today's show, let me invite you to follow me on Facebook and Instagram at The Real Tavis Smiley and get updates on X, that's formerly Twitter, at Tavis Smiley. By the way, should you miss any part of today's program or want to catch up on previous shows, you can always visit thetavissmileyshow.com. That's thetavissmileyshow.com, or wherever you get your podcast, and listen to the Tavis Smiley podcast version of this live program at your leisure. Another great show on tap for you today. In our second hour, 2 conversations up first. It's Monday, so it's Smiley and West at the top of the second hour. More than a few things to unpack with Dr. Cornell West today when we commence hour 2. On the B side of hour 2, our final conversation about Hurricane Katrina 20 years later. Today we'll be joined by 2 guests from B NOLA, Black Education Foundation for New Orleans to hear about how they are helping to rebuild the city's learning pipeline for the future. In our third hour, a conversation with Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist Tremaine Lee in his new book, 1,000 Ways to Die, The True Cost of Violence on Black Life in America. Tremaine weaves together three strands: the long and bloody history of African Americans and guns, his work as a chronicler of gun violence, tallying the cost and riches generated by both legal and illegal gun industries, and his own life. Should be a rich dialogue with Tremaine Lee in hour three, discussing his new book, 1,000 Ways to Die, The True Cost of Violence on Black Life in America. But in this first hour today, two more conversations. On the B side of this hour, we'll talk to Missouri Democrat Congressman Emanuel Cleaver, who is warning his Republican colleagues who are drinking the Donald Trump gerrymandering Kool-Aid to first dig three graves: one for the GOP, one for the Democrats, and one for the Republic. Ouch. We'll talk to Congressman Emanuel Cleaver on the B side of this hour. But we commence today's show talking politics with professor and founding director of the Race, Politics, and Policy Center at George Mason University, our friend and brother Michael K. Fauntroy. Michael, how are you, sir?
I'm doing well, my friend. How are you?
If I complained, I'd be an ingrate. Doing well, man. Still here, still here. I want to start where we, I shouldn't say where we left off. It wasn't the last thing we talked about. When you were last here, part of our dialogue was talking about the president, the first black president of George Mason University, history-making president, Gregory Washington, and he was catching some hell when you were last on this program from Republicans, because he's one of the college presidents. There aren't many these days, but one of the few, as a black man, no less, of a PWI, predominantly white institution, who is, pardon the pun, pardon the phrase, standing his ground. I just discussed on this program last week the white president of Northwestern, who has bent the knee and decided he's going to resign. So we see these presidents all across the country just resigning, falling on the sword, as it were. But Gregory Washington, the black president at your university, has drawn a line in the sand, so to speak, and he's standing firm. And at the moment, he's still there. What do you make of the fact that he is becoming, I think, the sort of preeminent example for how a college president ought to stand in a moment such as this?
Well, let me say first, Tavis, I'm proud of him.
Yeah.
Because as you pointed out, presidents and boards are rolling over all over the country, many of which, as we talked about this the last time, have large enough endowments to ride this out if they wanted to do it. But they're taking the expedient route and bending the knee, as you put it, in hopes that the storm will end more quickly. The truth, though, is that the storm is never going to end as long as this group is in charge at the Department of Education, in the White House, and in Congress. So I'm really proud of him for standing up. And the other thing is, he really does, he's on to something. He's talking a lot about inclusive excellence. And if you're serious about creating an America that lives up to it, everything it has in terms of its potential, you got to include everybody. You can't keep putting mediocre people like Pete Hegseth and Robert F. Kennedy Jr. in on one hand and then talk about excellence and merit on the other, because these things are incongruous. So he's really pushing an initiative that I think will catch fire around the country, because the truth is there are students at colleges around the country, alumni at colleges around the country that are hanging their head in shame over the way their leaders, their current leaders, are just rolling over for this administration.
If you've not seen this piece in the New York Times, I highly recommend it. It's the headline reads, "At George Mason University, Trump has found an unbending adversary." Gregory Washington, George Mason's first black president, runs a university that prizes diversity. That has made him a target of the Trump administration. The headline, once again, the title is, "At George Mason University, Trump has found an unbending adversary." This is the story about the first African-American president of George Mason, Dr. Gregory Washington. I recommend that you read that piece if you want an example of somebody who really is standing firm against the nonsense coming out of the Trump administration. One quick follow-up on that one, push forward here right quick. How is his, I use this phrase that they use in the New York Times, his unbending adversary, how is that being met on campus? How are faculty, administrators responding to his being so firm against the Trump people?
So I think there is very large levels of support for him. But everybody understands the universe in which we're operating. The current board of trustees are all appointed by a conservative governor who has presidential ambitions. We understand that currently they have the votes and that they could move on Dr. Washington at any time. But the truth is the students and the faculty seem to be behind him right now. And that's what's helped keep him in place to this point. And let me just add quickly, not only the New York Times, but the Washington Post also came out with a big story on him this weekend, too.
Yeah.
And I think that's the start of a national dialogue to get his version of the story out in terms of what higher education means for America.
What I love about this story very quickly here is, and you've heard me say this before on this program probably many times, that I feel ambivalent about African American first. On the one hand, I celebrate the fact that we are moving and being allowed to show up in spaces and prove and show our excellence, places that we have been denied access to heretofore. On the other hand, I'm always reminded of Jesse Jackson Sr. Reminding us that Jackie Roosevelt Robinson wasn't the first Negro who could play baseball with the white boys. He was the first Negro allowed to. He wasn't the only one who was talented enough to do it. They just let Jackie be the first one who was allowed to play the game, and he represented us well, no question about that. So I'm ambivalent about these African American first. I celebrate the fact that, again, we're in spaces we've never been before, but there's so many other things to be wrestling with right now than bowing all the time at some Negro who's doing something for the first time. So again, I acknowledge my ambivalence about it. What I love about this story, though, is that with all these folk bending the knee, it is embarrassing. You heard us talking to Rashid Khalidi on this program last week, going in on Columbia, his institution. It is embarrassing to watch the way the academy has shown up or not shown up, as it were, in this particular moment. You see where I'm going? Wait for it. Leave it to a black man. Leave it to a black man who is the first at this institution, who could be run out any day. They've got the votes in Virginia. The governor, Republican, appointed these board members, as Michael just laid out. They could pull his card any day. But he is standing firm, and as we like to say around here, if we go down, we going down swinging. Leave it to a black man to show the rest of the nation and these college presidents how you ought to be showing up in a moment such as this. I digress. More with Michael Fauntroy when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
Generous listening.
Charitable listening.
It's why everybody wants to talk to Tavis. The conversation continues when we come forward.
Make a move into a home of your own. With City National Bank's Ladder Up Home Loan Grant, you could receive up to $20,000 that you never need to pay back. Use it toward your down payment, save on closing costs, or to buy down your mortgage rate. Find out more at cnb.com/ladderuphome. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Property must be in a qualifying market in California, New York, or New Jersey. Additional terms and conditions apply. Not all applicants will qualify. Terms are subject to change without notice. City National Bank is an equal housing lender. Member FDIC. NMLS number 536994.
During this time, it's important for everyone to know your rights. The 4th, 5th, and 6th Amendments in the U.S. Constitution protects every one of us, regardless of immigration status. The 4th Amendment requires a judicial warrant to search your home. The 5th protects your right to remain silent, and the 6th gives you the right to an attorney. Just remember,
no warrant, no key, fly privacy. You don't have to speak. No lawyer inside. Don't say a thing. Yeah, we all got rights.
Hey, we all got rights. Let's go.
You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and help strengthen your immune response. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Schedule in minutes at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
There's nothing like when you get that part from eBay and it just fits. Yeah, the first time. So you can do less of this and get right back to more of this. At eBay, you'll find all the parts you need, guaranteed to fit, at prices you'll love. Sounds good, doesn't it? eBay. Things people love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 is committed to self-care and community well-being. Walk Good LA was formed in June 2020, inspired by the Black Lives Matter movement and the beginning stages of the COVID-19 pandemic. What began as a few minutes of breath work and yoga meditation before protests against police brutality turned into a safe space for the community to heal in hard times. The immensely positive response from the community transformed the momentum into a movement. Today, Walk Good LA is a Black and Brown-led community wellness organization based in Los Angeles. They provide spaces for healing through community yoga classes, guided meditations, hikes, run clubs, and other activations throughout Los Angeles that attract hundreds of members weekly. With the help of Propel and Michael B. Jordan, they now have a yoga and wellness studio in Los Angeles called the Walk Good Yard. To join their mailing list and connect with healing spaces, please visit walkgoodla.org. That's walkgoodla.org. Or find them on Instagram at walkgoodla. This is a community call to action, a community call to healing from KBLA Talk 1580.
Let's get back to more of this rich dialogue with Tavis Smiley.
Tavis Smiley and Michael K. Fauntroy at George Mason University. So did a lot of reading this weekend, which is not unlike most weekends, but it seems like I was just reading a lot this weekend. So there are a number of things in my head today that I hope to unpack with Michael Fauntroy at the top of this hour and Dr. West at the top of the second hour. But one of the things I read yesterday was the piece by Ezra Klein in the New York Times. It was trending yesterday. It was a pretty provocative and powerful piece in some ways that Ezra Klein wrote in the Times yesterday. If you did not read it, again, I highly recommend you read this piece. I think it's probably the best piece I've read in a long time with regard to where the Democratic Party is or is not, as it were, right about now. You recall on this program a few months ago, we were talking for days about whether or not and how, in fact, Democrats would show up when the government was facing this shutdown. And Chuck Schumer, long story short, steps up in the hours leading up to the showdown and suggests that Democrats should, in fact, get in line, not allow the government to shut down, and Democrats voted along with Republicans to keep the government open. That deadline was only a few months. That extension, rather, was only a few months. The deadline is at the end of this month. So later this month, September, we face another moment where the government either shuts down or they find a way to extend it a little bit further, to kick the can down the road a little bit more. So the question now is, given the way that Donald Trump has shown up over the last few months since Democrats played ball with him, should they play ball again, or should they let the government shut down? And if the government shuts down, what happens then? How will the politics play out if Democrats don't support Republicans and allow them to keep the government open? Put a pin in that for just a second. So there are a number of things that Ezra Klein raises in this pretty provocative piece that he wrote yesterday for the New York Times. It's so provocative. If you follow media as I do, it was actually in the paper yesterday, but obviously it was trending so heavily, it's in the paper again today. So it's 2 days in a row that the Times has pushed out this story by Ezra Klein. Two or three things in that piece I wanted to tap into with Michael and again perhaps with Doc. We'll see at the top of the second hour. Some of this depends on what song Doc starts with every Monday and Thursday. I never know where we're going when he plays that opening, when he plays his walk-on music, so we'll see in about 40 minutes or so from now. But I got Michael now, and so I know I can go there with him. So one of the things in this piece that jumped out at me, Michael, by the way, did you see this piece yesterday?
Yes, I did.
Okay. So he says, and I quote here, and he's right about this, there's a huge debate inside the Democratic Party on whether they should talk about Trump's corruption and authoritarianism or instead talk about the armed troops in Washington and beyond as a distraction from the price of groceries and health care. In other words, stay focused on how Trump's administration is impacting the pocketbooks, table book issues that relate to everyday people, or do you talk about his corruption and his authoritarianism? That's the debate right now inside the Democratic Party. He goes on in this article to point out, as I did a couple of weeks ago on this program, that for whatever reason right now, Democrats cannot raise money. AOC alone has raised $15 million. That is the grand total of what the party has raised versus $80 million sitting in the bank account for Republicans. What's my point? Glad you asked. For whatever reason, Democrats can't raise money right now. And I would suggest, as did Ezra yesterday in his piece, that they can't raise money because nobody believes in them. They don't believe in their message. They don't see a strategy. They don't see a plan. And if you don't see whether somewhere I read, where there is no vision, the people perish. The Democrats have not put forth a vision, and as a result, they can't raise any money. So if you believe that Democrats are just automatically going just fiat of victory into existence come the midterms, put down the crack pipe. That's not the way this thing is going to play out. I don't believe that at the moment. So here's the question, Michael. How do the Democrats focus? Is there messaging about Trump's authoritarianism and his corruption, or talking about these other moves that he's making that really are a distraction away from the issue of the price of gas and eggs and groceries and health care, et cetera, et cetera? You teach this stuff every day at George Mason. You tell me.
I think it's a leadership problem. All of the issues you just identified in terms of what to focus on, to me, are the right ones, and I don't think you have to choose one side or the other. I think there's enough room to do both. The problem is the congressional leadership of the party, for the most part, is not compelling enough to get people to pay attention. And if you can't get people to pay attention and believe in you, then you can't raise the money. And as you pointed out, if you can't raise the money, you can't win. So for me, it's a leadership issue. I think all of the leaders need to be reviewed, so to speak. But I'm focusing on Chuck Schumer. I think when he rolled over like he did in March, it may have been for, reasonable reasons, if you will, but it's caused a whole lot of problems going forward. And I will just tell you, Tavis, we don't know the impact of a government takeover, shutdown, rather. Usually, the party who's in Congress that's out of power is the one that takes the hit.
That's right.
That may not necessarily be the case this time because there's so much other stuff going on. Here's the issue. If you allow the government to shut down, people who are already getting hurt by the increasingly collapsing economy will be hurt even more. And you may pay a price there, too. So I don't quite know what the answer is in terms of which way to go, where, shut down or not shut down. I just know that what we've done to this point hasn't worked. So you probably don't lose anything by trying something new.
Yeah. The other point that Ezra makes, there are a number of points in this piece, and again, I recommend it if you did not see it yesterday or today, about whether or not the Democrats ought to play ball with Republicans when it comes to this government shutdown that is looming once again later this month. Trust and believe, as we get closer to the end of September, this is all everybody's going to be talking about. How do the Democrats move when it comes to whether or not they're going to, save their republic, as it were, keep government afloat, keep it alive by siding with Republicans? Have Republicans earned that? Has Donald Trump earned the support of Democrats? That's going to be the question weeks from now. I'm just jumping out in front of it on today's program, and I will, we'll stay out front here for the next few weeks. But back to Ezra's piece, one of the other issues that he raises, Michael, is simply this, and I quote again: Democrats are this unpopular because their own side is losing faith in them. I repeat, Democrats are this unpopular because their own side is losing faith in them. Here's the point. Before the election, listen now, before the election, 87% of Republicans approved of the Republican Party, and 92% of Democrats approved of the Democratic Party. I repeat, I know numbers are hard to follow. Before the election, last November, 87% of Republicans approved of their party. 92% of Democrats approved of their party. Since that time, Republican approval of their party has jumped from 87 to 91, wait for it, but Democrats' approval of their party has fallen to 73%. All these numbers, Michael, are going in the wrong direction.
Oh, my goodness. That number right there might tell you all you need to know. Setting aside for a second the fundraising piece, because that number speaks to enthusiasm for going out and vote. And so if the numbers are in the low to mid 70s right now, how are you going to get them up into the 90s where you need to be competitive in November of next year? And I think that again speaks to leadership. Now, I don't know how Gavin Newsom is playing, in California. I just know that here, he, Wes Moore, AOC, Jasmine Crockett, and other leaders both in Congress and outside of Congress seem to be pointing toward a new direction for the party that I think is at a minimum worth embracing through the 2026 elections. Because, man, let me just tell you, if one or both of those houses don't change party next year,
yeah.
Oh, come on! I'm in D.C. I'm dodging National Guardsmen as I'm driving through different streets, and it's only going to get worse.
Yeah. To your point about leadership, so I sort of laughed, and I was talking to Dr. West yesterday. He and I had a brief phone call yesterday. I talked to him last evening about some other business. He'll be on again at the top of the second hour here. But I said to Doc, I sort of chuckled reading Ezra's piece, because at the end of the piece, Ezra concludes two things. One, he says he acknowledges, I'm not a political strategist, and I don't know the answer, to the shutdown question. I'm just telling you basically what you said, Michael, that insanity is doing the same thing the same way, expecting a different result. What do you lose by trying something different? And to your point, the party not in power generally takes it on the chin. But the question is whether or not Democrats can make a strong argument for why they're not supporting Donald Trump. If this is the way you're going to run government, as corruptly as he's running it, in this piece, Ezra quotes John Ossoff, senator out of Georgia, and he just does a riff, speaking to his town hall meeting recently, he just does a riff on Donald Trump's corruption. And Ezra's point is, if Democrats sounded like this, running this riff on corruption in the Trump era, they could make the case. Whether or not they're prepared to do that, we don't know. So you can't jump out there and shut the government down and not be able to make a strong argument for why you did that. And that's Ezra's conclusion. I'm not sure Democrats are ready to shut down the government, because I'm not sure they're ready successfully to make the argument about why they shut down the government, which brings us back to Michael's point that fundamentally they don't have the leadership in place to make that argument, even if they make the right decision to not support Republicans and let the government shut down. So I laughed when I read this piece, because Ezra, one, didn't really take a side on whether or not the government ought to be shut down on the part of Democrats. But he also, as nicely as he could, made the point that leadership is a problem. He did not call for the ouster of Chuck Schumer. He did not call for the ouster of Hakeem Jeffries. But how might I put it? He stepped all the way up to the line. Since we're in football season now, he didn't step across the line, Michael, but he had chalk on his shoes. There was chalk on the tip of his toe.
He had chalk on his toes.
Yeah, he had chalk on his toes, man. He didn't step across the line, but there was chalk on his toes, which again raises the fundamental question. If everybody is looking respectfully at Chuck Schumer, if everybody's looking at our dear brother Hakeem Jeffries, and nobody sees in them the kind of leadership that this moment is calling for, then what do Democrats do beyond raising the question about what leadership ought to look like?
Well, this is we're talking sports now. I love this, right?
Let's go.
So we hear all the time, the team lost, fired a coach. Okay, well, who are you going to replace the coach with? Right? Mm-hmm. It's one thing to say they got to go. The next question is, well, who are you going to replace them with?
That's right.
And until that question is settled, then the other stuff, is important and needs to be dealt with. But I'm not sure you can make a move. Now, perhaps there are some leaders in Congress, House and Senate, who can step up and do a better job of communicating to the country. If that's the case, then we need to have that conversation. But what we're doing right now is insufficient, especially on the Senate side, where so much more power rests in the hands of one individual senator that we're not seeing the pushback out of that operation that we need.
Yeah, I think this wait, watch, and win. I said this months ago on this program that it seems to me the Democratic Party is to wait, to watch, and win. That magically Trump's tariffs are going to be like a noose around his neck and hang him up. I don't see that at this point. Particularly if other states do like Texas and keep gerrymandering and redistricting and drawing lines that increase the number of Republicans who will be in the House. As I said before, we could have a democracy on paper, Michael, but be under rigid one-party rule. And as you and I both know, that ain't really a democracy.
Right, no question about it.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that's where we're trending right now.
Yep, that is where we're trending, and that is why I am sounding the alarm bell The government shutdown looms later this month. What are Democrats going to do? You'll be hearing about it everywhere as we get closer, but I'm starting right now, letting you know that the Democrats got a decision to make later this month, a major decision to make. And if they decide not to support Trump and the Republicans, and I don't believe they frankly have earned the support of Democrats, and they decide to shut the government down, can they make the argument successfully to the American people why they did that? Can they not be punished for making that courageous decision, as it were? Do they have the leadership to make the argument to everyday people? Those are some of the questions we'll be wrestling with in the weeks to come. For now, we thank Michael K. Fauntroy, wishing nothing but the best to his president at Georgia Mason University. We thank him for having a spine. We quote Dr. King around here all the time. A man can only ride your back when it's bent, because when you straighten your back out, you're going somewhere. I digress for now. Michael, talk to you soon. All the best to you, sir.
Okay, man.
We'll talk. Speaking of Congress, we'll talk to a member of Congress who may be redrawn out of his seat if Republicans have their way in Missouri. Emanuel Cleaver coming up in just a moment.
Why does Tavis say when we come forward?
Because he's not going back.
And you don't have to go back either. Forward ever, backward never. More of Tavis Smiley when we come forward. Forward.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. Black former Surgeon General Jerome Adams is calling for Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. to be fired, saying his vaccine policies are dangerous and put Americans at risk. Kennedy accused the former CDC director of lying during last week's Senate hearing.
In a month, she became a liar?
Yeah, you should ask her what changed. And by the way, a month ago, you were voting against her.
Kennedy denies claims he misled the public. A Grambling State student was arrested for failing to disclose his HIV status during a sexual encounter in a campus bathroom. Black 20-year-old Tremond Wright was questioned after someone called to report the activity taking place, and he was arrested. The incident sparked a health alert, with officials urging students to get tested. And Broadway's Cabaret will close early on September 21st as Billy Porter recovers from sepsis. Producers say Porter is expected to make a full recovery, but doctors advised rest. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Still got those annoying mosquitoes, ants, crickets, and creepy spiders? Get them out for good. Call legendary Dewey Pest and Termite Control. Family run since 1929. Get a free inspection and evaluation at DeweyPest.com. That's DeweyPest.com.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
It was a good first week of the regular season for both of LA's NFL teams. The Chargers beat Kansas City Friday night in Brazil. The Rams beat Houston 14-9 in their season opener at SoFi Stadium. The Rams defense kept Houston out of the end zone. All of Houston's points came on field goals. Rams quarterback Matthew Stafford was 21 of 29 for 245 yards and a touchdown. Stafford became the 10th quarterback in NFL history to reach 60,000 passing yards. The LA Sparks kept their WNBA playoff hopes alive with a 91-77 win over the Dallas Wings. The Sparks have 2 games remaining to pass the Seattle Storm for the 8th and final playoff spot. Seattle was a game and a half ahead of the Sparks. The Dodgers snapped a 5-game losing streak with a 5-2 win at Baltimore. The Dodgers are back home tonight against Colorado. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
Hi, I'm Jesse Jackson Jr., inviting you to join me weekdays at 12 noon, right after Tavis Smiley, here on KBLA Talk 1580. As a law school graduate and a theologian, with a firm grasp of our body politic given almost 2 decades in Congress, my show is the fresh new home of an authentic, uncompromised quest for transformation and salvation, both personal and collectively, as I vigorously interrogate the theological and symbolic meanings embedded in our society. I promise to leverage my knowledge of history, theology, and both international and domestic issues to imagine an inclusive vision for the future, which I hope will inspire all of us to pursue life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness as a given, not just an aspiration. So join me weekdays at 12 noon right after Tavis Smiley for 2 hours of the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show, only on KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk Radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
Paid for by government.com. Did you know? The United States Mint has issued a new Morgan silver dollar coin in proof condition for the first time. Not only that, they are also minted in 99.9% pure silver for the first time ever in history. Coin experts are calling this an amazing opportunity for anyone that knows the enduring popularity of Morgans. But you must hurry. Only 400,000 of these legal tender silver dollars were issued. These first ever Morgan silver dollars are brand new with stunning mirror-like finish, minted by the iconic San Francisco Mint. Call now and you're guaranteed a new first ever 99.9% pure silver proof Morgan dollar. To learn more, call 1-800-973-9717. If you order now, you will receive a free coin collector bonus pack, a $25 value, free with every order. Call 1-800-973-9717 now to secure your new Morgan silver dollars before they are gone. That's 1-800-973-9717.
As a mom, comforting my family is what I do best. Vicks Vapor Stick provides soothing, non-medicated Vicks Vapors in an easy-to-apply stick, and it dries fast, so there's no mess. I use it to comfort myself and my family.
Thanks, Mom.
Vicks Vapo Stick, soothing comfort for the whole family. And try Vicks Vapo Shower Max for steamy Vicks Vapors when you need more comfort for yourself. Use as directed.
Hey, listen to this. All I needed was a new starter. Got a great deal on eBay. Did it myself.
Yeah, that's cool. But how about the soft purr of an upgraded exhaust when it fits just right?
For me, it's the little things, like these new windshield wipers from eBay I installed.
From small fixes to big upgrades, eBay has all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. eBay. Things people love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Sometimes he fails at fitting in. But we're okay with that. You're inside the Tavis Smiley Show.
You are indeed, and I'm glad about it. A conversation now with a Missouri Democrat, our friend and brother, Congressman Emanuel Cleaver, who is warning his Republican colleagues who are drinking the Donald Trump gerrymandering Kool-Aid to first dig 3 graves. One for the GOP, one for Democrats, and one for the Republic. More than that, he has promised a lawsuit if Missouri Republicans gerrymander his district, and he ends up losing his seat. I just raised the question in the first half hour of our program today, as I've raised heretofore. What happens if other red states emulate what they've done in Texas and keep redrawing lines, keep this gerrymandering game at play, where they keep adding Republican seats to Congress? You could end up, as I said just moments ago, with a democracy on paper, but we're literally living under rigid one-party rule like you see in Hungary right now. Put a pin in that for the moment. Let me welcome Emanuel Cleaver to this program. Congressman, how are you, my friend?
I'm good. Good to be with you.
It's good to hear your voice again. I haven't seen you in person since we were in Chicago at the Democratic Convention. I saw you. Yeah, you came on this program in Chicago. I thank you for that. And I wish I had you on different circumstances, but I want your voice to be heard. Tell me more about what's happening in Missouri and why you've threatened a lawsuit if they gerrymander your district.
Well, the big, old, ugly bill that was passed by Congress and promoted by the president is very, very unpopular with the people in this country, which is one of the reasons they're changing the name. And then secondarily, it is why all of a sudden there's redistricting in the middle of a decade. For your listeners, it's important, I think, for them to understand or to know that the census determines the congressional districts. And by that, I mean, the Constitution says that the same number of individuals or thereabouts should be in every congressional district. Right now, it's about 800,000. And so that's why redistricting is done after the census. Well, we haven't had a census in 3 years, and we won't have another one for another 3 years almost. And the Democrats are holding seats that Republicans desire. And so the president is simply calling those state leaders and saying, do it right now. We don't care what the Constitution says. We don't care about anything. We care about that seat. And so the 5th District of Missouri is Kansas City and its surrounding suburbs. The city is about 75% white and about 25% black and Latino. And so the goal of the Trump administration is to put a Republican in that seat, and so they're going to divide the district up into 3 congressional districts, which is horrible because these are urban dwellers, and it means that in urban Kansas City they're going to decide. They've already decided that they'd rather avoid the next election next year because of fear, and that they're going to redistrict now, and then they'll have an ally vote, that they can call on when they want it. It's horrible. There's nothing good about it. There's nothing decent about it. And when they speak about it now, they put all pretenses aside, and they're just saying, yeah, we want the seat. That's it, and we can't win it. So it's the old political thing of getting our voters to the polls, and if the people are not living around the polls, we'll move the line so they'll be around the polls that will allow us to win.
Yep. So you've been in Congress. I've known you for a long time, and you've been in Congress, I believe, about 11 terms now.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, 11 terms in Congress. How do you read your governor and these other governors responding to Donald Trump in the way that they are, redrawing these lines? Again, there's no census afoot at the moment. But how do you read these Republican governors responding to Trump? You recall, as we all recall, he was begging, demanding that they find him the votes in Georgia. That didn't exactly happen. They didn't find the votes for him in Georgia, but these governors now are finding these seats for him, and in many ways that's even more critical because again, if these governors keep showing up the way they are in Texas and your state of Missouri, and they keep redrawing these lines, and Republicans keep increasing the number of safe seats in Congress, we end up with a block of Republicans. We end up under one-party rule. What's your read of the way these governors are responding to Trump's demands right about now?
Well, it takes some courage to stand up to the President of the United States. The governor of Georgia did stand up and refused to do what he was essentially ordered to do. And I think the governor of Texas did the same thing. Unfortunately, it looks like tomorrow the Missouri General Assembly probably will vote based on the governor's legislation. But I need to say to you, my brother, that this is woefully unpopular in the state of Missouri. We've had done polling. The poll was completed last week. It was put out by the DCCC, the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee, and it shows that there's no one in the state of Missouri, and there's no sector with the majority in it that wants this to happen. Not white, not black, not brown, and also it's important to know that Republicans, the majority of Republicans don't want to do this, and it's because they can see that it's just absolutely flat out wrong, and the Republican Party is going to also in Missouri eliminate legislatively probably tomorrow as well that you cannot have an initiative petition. Now that's really telling the people, we think you're crazy, you don't know what's right and what you need to do, so we're not going to let you put anything on the ballot that you want to express yourself about. I mean, so they're trying to make sure that nothing happens after they vote.
Right.
But the NAACP Legal Defense Fund has already filed suit against the governor asking for a special session because the language in the state constitution says that the government may call these special sessions for emergencies.
Mm-hmm.
And the NAACP is saying, that this is not an emergency, and it isn't.
So when we come forward, I want to just get a direct answer to this question. Let me tell you what the question is now. We'll get the Congressman's response when we come forward. So I've heard two things come out of his mouth. On the one hand, I've heard him say this is very, very unpopular. Woefully was his word, as I recall. Woefully unpopular in the state of Missouri, what the governor, the Republican governor, and some Republicans, and Donald Trump, of course, in the White House and his cohort want to do. Woefully unpopular in Missouri. And yet, what I also heard him say is that it's going down tomorrow, that the governor has called for a special session. He's asked lawmakers to return back to the Capitol to gerrymander the congressional map in the state of Missouri to add one Republican seat. If they show up tomorrow and they do, Republicans that is in Missouri, do what the governor has asked, they're going to redraw these lines and they're going to gerrymander to the extent they can 11-term black Congressman Emanuel Cleaver out of his seat. So my question is, what's actually going to happen tomorrow? What's really going down tomorrow? That's my question when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
Hope, agency, dignity. This is Tavis Smiley.
Can you dig it? Come on!
With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Dr. Nicolai Corte. Let's preserve black land stories before they're lost forever. I want to personally invite you to be a part of something historic. As journalist in residence for the Black Land Lost Narrative Archive Project, I've joined forces with powerhouse attorney and social justice champion George Fothery, the man who helped make history by delivering justice to the Bruce family in Manhattan Beach, securing the first known return of land unjustly taken from black owners by a local government. That victory was monumental, but it was just the beginning. For generations, black families have acquired land through grit, faith, and determination, only to lose it through violence, legal loopholes, forced sales, and systematic racism. What's been taken goes far beyond dirt and deeds. It's the erasure of wealth, identity, and legacy. That's why we've launched the Black Land Lost Narrative Archive Project, a national effort to collect, protect, and preserve the stories of black land lost before they're buried, forgotten, or erased altogether. Because there's power in telling black stories, there is resistance in remembering, and there's justice in being seen and heard. This is where you come in. We're inviting you to be a part of this historic black narrative archive. If you or someone you know has experienced land loss, displacement, or forced property sales, your story deserves to be heard and remembered. Your story belongs in this archive. Your truth matters not just to your family, but to our collective future. Visit blacklandlost.org today. Fill out our simple intake form and add your voice to the National Archive of Remembrance, Resilience, and Reckoning. Let's make these stories live on, not in whispers, but on the record. With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Dr. Nicolai Corte, and as always, we welcome your feedback.
We ask seniors how to prevent Medicare scams.
My best advice, if you get a phone call, do not talk to the person. These people are well trained. Don't talk to them.
They don't know me. They're just trying to scam me.
Don't be fooled. Hang up. Just hang up.
Never give out your Medicare number.
They're going to get your number to put in a false claim.
If I get a call from someone, I don't pick up the phone. And should I pick up the phone and they ask for information, then I hang up.
How do you detect Medicare fraud?
Just like I check my credit card statements, I check my Medicare statements monthly.
Scammers can get a hold of your number, order medical devices through your account, and you're not even going to know about it if you don't look at your statement.
Check your statement every month. If you get your statement and you see something that you know you did not have done, you report it.
Call your Senior Medicare Patrol.
To report Medicare fraud, call the Senior Medicare Patrol at 855-613-7080.
Freedom is an endless meeting. So let's get back to it with Tavis Smiley.
Tavis Smiley and Missouri Congressman Emanuel Cleaver, who I'm honored to have on this program. So first it was Florida. Ron DeSantis whipped those Republicans. They didn't want to do it either, but he whipped those Republicans into shape. And they added some seats for Republicans in Florida. Next up, it was Texas and Greg Abbott. succeeded in Texas in getting 5 more Republican seats. And next up tomorrow is the state of Missouri. It's the show me state. So what are Republicans going to show us tomorrow in Missouri, Congressman Cleaver? Congressman, you got your mute button on, I think, sir. Unmute yourself right quick. Press your mute button or unmute it. We can't hear you. I think you're.
I'm hoping that they will show some courage.
Mm-hmm.
That they will stand up and say, "Look, this is unconstitutional, and it's not right."
Mm-hmm.
But it seems to be very difficult for Republicans to stand up to Donald Trump. I don't understand it. I really don't understand the fact that they have placed him in this position where he is, the person they worship.
Yep.
So I'm hoping that they stand up.
Right.
But otherwise, what they're going to be doing is trying to eliminate one person from the Missouri congressional delegation.
How do you not take this personally when you've been in this seat for 11 terms, 11 times 2, do the math, 22 years you've been holding this seat. Obviously, your constituents love you. They keep sending you back to Congress every 2 years. How do you not take this personally when, of all the persons in this delegation, your seat is the one being targeted?
Yeah, I have to be candid. It makes me angry. The Missouri delegation has been one of the delegations in Congress that could meet. And I don't think there's another delegation that holds meetings once a month except Missouri. And I have to be very clear here. I'm struggling inside on whether or not I can go to another meeting because I'm looking at some of the people in there, not all of them,
right,
but some of the people who I thought we were, colleagues, if not friends, could stand up and say, "Oh, if the president wants it, whether it's right or wrong, this is what I'm going to do." And it's like after what happened on January 6th, and that is people who stood up and voted that nothing happened, put themselves in a situation where many of us on the other side, didn't even want to have a conversation with them because they had voted essentially for a coup d'etat.
Yeah.
And so I'm hoping that something else happens, but experience tells me that it won't.
So 2 things when we come forward in our remaining moments with Congressman Cleaver. To the extent that Republicans don't do the right thing tomorrow in this meeting that the governor has called for, what does he do? I mentioned earlier he's threatened a lawsuit. You heard him say earlier the NAACP, LDF, the Defense Fund has already filed a lawsuit. So if they don't do the right thing tomorrow and follow the Constitution, what are his options, number 1? And number 2, what happens to his constituents? I'm specifically concerned and asking about the African-American constituents. His district is not 100% black, as we all know. But for those African-Americans who he's represented so well for these 22 terms, these 22 years, 11 terms that have counted on him, what happens specifically to these black constituents who are now being denied the opportunity to elect a black representative? Those are my 2 questions in our remaining moments with Emanuel Cleaver when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
What's your quarrel with the world? You're listening to Tavis Smiley. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. The Autopsy Initiative provides a second autopsy free of charge for victims' families who have lost their loved ones due to a police-related death. The services offered through the initiative include the completion of a second autopsy, disclosure of preliminary findings, and a final autopsy report. A police-related death is when an individual is harmed by police officers using deadly force, which results in an individual's death. Police-related death includes in-custody deaths, including those that arise during contact with law enforcement officers during arrest, pursuit, booking, transport, or incarceration. The Autopsy Initiative has a team of board-certified pathologists on call. An autopsy request may be completed by anyone with a close relationship with the victim, which may include the victim's spouse, partner, relative, close friend, or lawyer. To request a free second autopsy for a victim of police violence, please visit knowyourrightscamp.com. That's knowyourrightscamp.com. Then click on Autopsy, then click on Request. At KBLA, we believe in justice. justice for victims of police violence. We say their names, and we don't black down. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
If you're like me, 60 and retired, making ends meet, especially here at the supermarket and drugstore, is tough. I'm so blessed to have found benefitscheckup.org. It's a free and confidential website from the National Council on Aging that connected me to $1,200 a year in programs that help pay for food, medicine, utilities, and more. Maybe it can help you. benefitscheckup.org.
You know where you want to go in life, and City National Bank can help. City National knows the dedication it takes to build your vision for the future into a reality, and our team is here for you. We have a wide range of options to help, from personal savings accounts to interest-bearing money market savings accounts and more, all designed to help you get where you want to go. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Learn more at cnb.com. City National Bank is a subsidiary of Royal Bank of Canada, member FDIC.
This is Secret Clinical dominating extra stinky stress sweat. And this is regular deodorant. Secret Clinical in a heat wave. Oh, what a beautiful day. This is regular deodorant. Ugh, I can't. Secret Clinical with workout sweat. Let's run another marathon. And regular deodorant. How much more? Secret is the GOAT because nothing fights sweat better. Stay fresher under pressure.
Sometimes he fails at fitting in, but we're okay with that. You're inside the Tavis Smiley Show.
I've got 3 or 4 minutes left here with Democratic Congressman Emanuel Cleaver out of Kansas City, Missouri, who I've, again, delighted in having on this program for these few moments. So these are my 2 questions. I'll do them one at a time. So if Republicans, to your point, Congressman, don't do the right thing tomorrow and you end up being gerrymandered out of your seat, essentially, what are your options?
Well, the Bible gives us the direction. After the flood, it said fire the next time.
Oh yeah.
Well, they've already used fire. We're gonna now use some fire. The leadership of the Democratic Caucus said we're going to. California is going to move toward redistricting. We have Maryland standing by. New York is standing by. Ohio standing by. I think that there's a miscalculation if they think we're going to walk away quietly and allow this to happen. Fire with fire, but it also means that if they keep doing it, we'll have nothing left but ashes.
That's the line of the day. Fire with fire. But if they keep this up, all we're going to be left with are ashes. That is the quote of the day, and I'm only in the first hour. My extra question is simply this, Congressman. What happens then, assuming they don't do the right thing tomorrow, assuming that you are gerrymandered out of this seat after 11 terms in Congress, what happens specifically to your black constituents?
Well, they won't have a representative in Congress, and because that means that the representative will, in all likelihood, come from a rural area. Now, it's unfair to the rural area as well, but urban life is different than rural life. I was born in Waxahachie, Texas. I know, and so there will be a whole chunk of Kansas City, Missouri, that can go to bed each night knowing that their representative, in all likelihood, voted against them all day in Washington, D.C.
Here's my extra question for real. You made reference to the Bible a moment ago. Those of us who are fans of yours and brothers of yours and friends of yours have known, obviously, for years that you are not just a member of Congress, but you're also an ordained minister, pastor. This is your work and your witness. Tell me quickly in the last 60 seconds here what this does to your faith, to your belief. Just put this in a Christology frame for me right quick.
Well, I think the right and wrong is what this is. And, in the book of James, they said, any person, they say man, but any person who does wrong and realizes that it's wrong is sinful. And that's for a lot of people up here who proclaim all day, every day about how great a Christian they are, that they also want to hold an entire Christian nation. And Christianity requires, in fact, it demands actions, not just talk.
Yeah. We'll leave it there. We will see what happens tomorrow in Missouri, but you heard the congressman say himself, he's not going to hold his breath. But he's fighting the good fight, and if they come with more fire tomorrow, there'll be more fire. But you also heard him say that if we keep fighting fire with fire, we're going to end up with nothing but ashes. I digress for now. Congressman Cleaver, thank you for coming on this program the day before this showdown. I appreciate your time, sir, and I'll be talking to you in the days to come. Trust and believe.
Thank you. God bless you. Good to be with you.
Good to have you on, my friend. More of Tavis Smiley, including a conversation at the top of the hour. It's Smiley and West. Cornell West is here in a moment. Stay with us.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. Black former Surgeon General Jerome Adams is calling for Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. to be fired, saying his vaccine policies are dangerous and put Americans at risk. Kennedy accused the former CDC director of lying during last week's Senate hearing.
In a month, she became a liar?
Yeah, you should ask her what changed. And by the way, a month ago, you were voting against her.
Kennedy denies claims he misled the public. A Grambling State student was arrested for failing to disclose his HIV status during a sexual encounter in a campus bathroom. Black 20-year-old Tremond Wright was questioned after someone called to report the activity taking place, and he was arrested. The incident sparked a health alert, with officials urging students to get tested. And Broadway's Cabaret will close early on September 21st as Billy Porter recovers from sepsis. Producers say Porter is expected to make a full recovery, but doctors advised rest. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Still got those annoying mosquitoes, ants, crickets, and creepy spiders? Get them out for good. Call Legendary Dewey Pest and Termite Control. Family run since